All right, so welcome to Blockchain Crypto Gang live right now. So we've seen the Bitcoin go up and reach an all-time high at 72,000. I want to say 600, which was pretty extraordinary, and it's very indicative of what we're going to expect out of this particular bull cycle. I say that because last bull cycle, Bitcoin hit its all-time high 7 months after the halving. And in this case, it has hit it 2 months before the halving, which is 9 months sooner than last time. So that means perhaps the trajectory of when the bull run starts is that much sooner. You could say that. Or you could say maybe it will be that much longer. Or you could just say that this is going to be such a parabolic, phenomenal bull cycle that we've never seen and we're not going to be ready for. We could say that. So at this time, and this is exactly why, there's a lot of different reasons why people are saying that, Bitcoin has hit this all-time high so fast. People say it's the ETFs, which definitely has something to do with it. People say that because of, different financial institutions, because it's becoming more popularized and normalized in society, that is why Bitcoin is doing what it's doing right now. I'll say this, though. If you've watched CryptTalk podcast before it was taken down off of YouTube, which you can still retrieve on Odysee, then you know that there's been hundreds of different partnerships, not just with Bitcoin, but in the crypto world in general. All kinds of partnerships. And I've always said that, look, when you see a partnership, it doesn't mean that that coin or that project is going to explode. It means that the foundation is being laid. Because remember, before that that Ripple ruling came down, there was a lot of people, as I've said before, in the hiding, in the waiting to see how that particular lawsuit goes before they were ready to come out full-fledged with some of their projects. It doesn't mean they weren't building on the low. So all of these different partnerships that we have seen and adoptions and integrations and developments, they take time before it really starts to show. Now you're starting to see the manifestation of all of these partnerships and developments in the past, and we have not even seen the best of it yet. This is why I say study Bitcoin, not buy Bitcoin, study it, because then you'll know what to do. You'll be able to assess different opportunities. You'll be able to deal with decentralized protocols. And when, some of you guys hit me up via email or whatever, we'll be able to have a deeper conversation with more understanding instead of starting at a base level. And that's what people don't understand. A lot of people who are in the crypto game or on the sidelines right now, they're going to start wanting to get involved once Bitcoin gets to 150. Just like, this last all-time high brought out a lot of people who now are starting to ask about Bitcoin. Oh, maybe this Bitcoin is what it is. Maybe blah, blah, blah. Okay, now it's Wall Street. So now it's safe. Now it's legitimate. And you're going to see, some of these meme coins that I have, there's going to be people, once they list on Coinbase, that are all of a sudden, they're going to be excited about it, and they're going to want to get involved the same way Shiba Inu and Dogecoin did the last bull cycle. The problem with that is, as in Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, those who bought it once it listed on Coinbase, once those coins listed on Coinbase and it was all the rage on social media, Twitter, a lot of those people are still in the red because they didn't buy Dogecoin until it was at a $30 billion market cap and listed on Coinbase. They didn't buy Shiba Inu until it was at a $40 billion market cap and listed on Coinbase. Some of them didn't even buy Bitcoin until it reached the all-time high. Not too many people, because most people are in the black on Bitcoin, like 97%. But there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this, y'all. So as we look at the market, we see that Bitcoin still at a strong 71,000, almost 200, which is a 1.4 market cap. Bitcoin has actually passed silver in market cap. Think about that. It's not close to gold yet, but it will be close. This bull cycle will bring it a lot closer to gold. So the difference is, look, those who have been stacking up these sats, stacking Bitcoin for the past year when Bitcoin was only 15,000 are reaping the most benefits right now. That's why you see the sell-offs. That's why even like after the halving, you'll probably see a short sell-off before it goes parabolic again. But let's get into some Bitcoin news, shall we? Let's start it off with this right here. See, this is one of those stories that, I like to give people these stories, and that way they'll understand like what type of development is going on, which is going to strengthen, in this case, Bitcoin, strengthen the institutional interest in Bitcoin, which will lead to surging prices. It doesn't mean that this story drops all of a sudden it's going parabolic. It doesn't work like that. But Bitcoin developers unite to draft guidelines for BRC20 tokens. What does that mean? So on Ethereum, you have the ERC20, which is a standard protocol so that all Ethereum tokens can interact. So if you have a wallet, then you can trade these different tokens. They all have some of the same parameters so that they're all affluent with each other. Well, now that we have second layer development expanded on Bitcoin to the point to where now you have Bitcoin NFTs, which are called ordinals. You have Bitcoin DeFi. You have Stacks, which is a second layer Bitcoin solution, which, you could even stake for Bitcoin. You could interact with, you can create and buy ordinals, sell ordinals, or those are the NFTs. You could tokenize real world assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. So this is why Bitcoin maxis say that Bitcoin will be the last and only one standing, which I don't agree with. But it does stand to reason that a lot of these altcoins, a lot of them are going to be useless except for just for pumps and dumps. Because any blockchain can pretty much do anything if the right developers are developing on it. So Bitcoin could have had all of this stuff, but Bitcoin was focused on decentralization and security. So now that it's expanded, now we have the Lightning Network to make Bitcoin transactions faster and cheaper, and we have second layer solutions. Now we have coins being built on the Bitcoin blockchain, not forks like Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Satoshi Vision or Bitcoin Diamond or other ones. No, this is Bitcoin tokens. This is other coins that are on the Bitcoin blockchain that will require Bitcoin as gas. So what some of these developers are doing now, they're just creating or coming to standardize guidelines for the BRCs. Now, remember, Stacks already has some tokens, which is a second layer Bitcoin solution. They have tokens like the Miami coin, the New York coin, different city projects. But here we go. This is straight up Bitcoin. So the immense popularity of Bitcoin ordinals, the new meme coins minted on the world's top blockchain, has brought a coalition of Bitcoin developers together to cooperatively formalize the underlying BRC20 fungible token standard. The coalition, the newly formed Layer 1 Foundation, announced its governance body on Monday, focused on ensuring trust and transparency around the protocol and calling it crucial for future growth. And it is, because moves like this, for those who are like, for the large corporations and financial institutions and investment vehicles who really only deal with Bitcoin, for them to expand their products and services and only stay on the Bitcoin blockchain, just to stay with Bitcoin, developments like this is important. Because now they realize, real estate is an unspoken about industry that is starting to utilize blockchain technology. Like, for instance, I actually have some Proppy coin, which you can get on Coinbase, which is an Ethereum token, pretty small market cap, but they're really focusing on real estate. So, that's Ethereum, but Bitcoin can do the same. You could tokenize real life assets. You can make ordinals or NFTs and tokenize anything now. You could have different coins that are on the Bitcoin blockchain, meaning that, if a bank wants to make their own coin, their own token, Well, they can do it on the Bitcoin blockchain if they're Bitcoin maximalists or if they feel more comfortable and confidence on the Bitcoin blockchain. So news like this is just the kind of stuff that expands the foundation, the floor, and allows more development, allows more accessibility, seamlessness, and growth for the Bitcoin, for Bitcoin in general, and for the specific projects that will be on the Bitcoin blockchain. This is why people say Bitcoin will be at $1 million at one point. Speaking of where Bitcoin is going, I said this back in January. Bitcoin is headed for 150, says Bernstein analyst, excuse me. So, 150, I think right now is a pretty conservative number. Right now, 150 is like a double from where it's at. It's definitely going to get there because you just look at the halving. Like I said, we have hit 3 all-time highs before the halving, all within like a week, and we're still less than 2 months from the halving. So once the halving happens, less Bitcoin is introduced into the market. That rate is cut in half. So the scarcity increases, accessibility decreases, supply decreases, but the demand is still increasing. So fresh off a new all-time high, Bitcoin is on its way to 150,000 per coin, according to global investment firm AllianceBernstein. In a Monday note, the firm said that the sheer volume of cash flooding into new approved EFTs or ETFs, will ensure the value of Bitcoin to continue to rise. The firm predicted last year that Bitcoin would hit 150 by 2025. Now believes hitting the milestone is even more likely. So like I said, I did a video January, beginning of the year. And I said by first quarter 2025, Bitcoin would be at 150. And that's a very conservative number. If it follows the trend of the last bull cycle, it's going to get to 250. Because last bull cycle, the all-time high was 3.5 times from the previous all-time high. So if that trend continues, and remember when it did that, that was during a pandemic. That was when people were still uncertain about the future of crypto because of the SEC suing so many companies like Ripple. Now that's not an issue. So the firm predicted, I already said that part. The price of Bitcoin set an all-time high this morning, crossing the 72,000 mark per coin. The price of BTC is now at 72,133, which is a little bit less than that. According to data from CoinGecko, these are still early days of Bitcoin's integration into traditional asset portfolios. The note of Guantum Chagani and Mahika Sapra read, "We are now more convinced about our $150,000 Bitcoin price." And this is just the chart as we've seen it really run up from February. I remember when it was at like 42,000 hanging around there, and I was talking to people about Bitcoin, and they were telling me they're going to wait till it drops to sub 30,000 before they buy. I don't know when that will ever happen again. Like it might, like after this bull cycle and everything sells off, it could. I just wouldn't hold my breath. I would not hold my breath. Right now, we are looking at a 71,000 plus Bitcoin. We estimate 10 billion of inflows for 2024, another 60 billion for 2025. They continued the last 40 trading days since ETF launch on January 10th. Bitcoin inflow has crossed 9.5 billion already. Keep in mind that number is going to continue to rise. Because as this cycle, as more like these ETF issuers, the Black Rocks, the Grayscales, etc., they're going to continue to buy because they know that the demand is increasing, and they're going to want to satisfy not just their institutional clientele, but the retail clientele, or those who just have access to buying stocks. So a lot of people will go that route if they're not tech savvy, or if they're just already more accustomed to traditional financial instruments like stocks, NASDAQs, and things like that. mutual funds, index funds, 401ks, IRAs, they're going to go that route. That is what all these Bitcoin, ETF issuers are banking on. And the reason why I don't think we'll see quite the type of sell-off as we did last time is because most of this Bitcoin is now being concentrated into the hands of large institutions that don't plan on selling because they're buying it to resell it via derivatives to retailers and other institutions. So I don't think we're going to have the same type of volatility as when retailers were buying it just to sell it for profit, because these institutions are making money holding it regardless what the market does. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions approved 11 Bitcoin ETFs January, following a decade of attempts by high-profile firms. They have been massively successful with hundreds of millions of dollars hitting the funds every day. That is only going to increase. And even if it remains the same, the idea is once the halving happens and there's only half of the amount of Bitcoin entering the market, that alone will adjust the price upwards. So let's continue. I don't really have that much time. Let's get to this one. El Salvador. We're going to stay with this Bitcoin news before we get into a couple other things. El Salvador is sitting on 84 million profits in his Bitcoin holdings. So of course we know Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, a very beloved El Salvadorian president who just won his re-election. And he actually just did a speech to CPAC, which was pretty insightful. I watched it, and he's a pretty smart dude. And I've met dozens of people in Houston who are from El Salvador, and I always ask them the same questions. What do you think about President Bukele? They're usually surprised I know who he is. And I'll ask them about the Bitcoin if they're familiar with all that, this and that. I'm going to tell you one thing. 100% of them are in love with dude. They credit him for reviving the economy, for getting the gangs out and making it safer. A couple of them even invited me to El Salvador, which I may take up their offer. But yeah, so he did some revolutionary things. Now, when you look at a number like 84 million, right? The Treasury is sitting on 84 million in unrealized profits and on the holdings of his that it first started acquiring September 2024. That doesn't seem like a lot of money for a country. But keep in mind, this is a smaller country. 84 million is still 84 million. It's still 84 million more than they would have had. And it's definitely more than 84 million when you consider that their money is hyper deflationary, which is one of the reasons why they took the chance. This is why you're going to see even more Bitcoin adoption and even other crypto adoption. Understand, like, the case study that El Salvador has created for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for other nations with struggling economies, small to medium size, that are hyperinflated with their native currency. See, this is why the CBDC slash stablecoin battles go on with some of these larger economies like United States. It's pretty simple. If you live in a country like El Salvador, Nigeria, I don't know, maybe Ukraine. If you live in a country where your money is hyperinflated and you're losing 50% or more purchasing power every year, meaning that for every dollar you have can only buy half of what it did last year because the value is going down and prices are going up. Being able to convert your money even to a stable coin pegged to the US dollar is going to be able to not only hedge your purchasing power, it's going to increase it. Because if I have 1,000 pesos and next year that 1,000 pesos is only going to buy me what 500 pesos bought, but if I take that 1,000 pesos and put it into a stable coin backed by the US dollar, now I don't lose that 50% because my currency versus the US dollar is gaining on it. So now when you buy back into your pesos, now you're buying in such more pesos than you had that you actually have increased your purchasing power. So as a nation, you would rather people not use these decentralized currencies on the blockchain, but use your currency because that would strengthen your dollar. That's on a micro level of an individual who's able to hedge and increase his wealth and his purchasing power. Now think of it from a nation standpoint, from a macro standpoint, a whole country who's losing purchasing power due to a hyperinflation that decides that, hey, let's buy a bunch of Bitcoin and put that on our balance sheets. Hey, let's make Bitcoin legal tender so that everyone in the nation that does business can have Bitcoin, or even just those who want to hold Bitcoin for their own personal reasons now will have much more purchasing power that will stimulate the economy. And then you have to think about another reason why he decided to make this move, which he said himself was 25% of his GDP was remittance, meaning people sending money back to El Salvador from abroad. So if that's 25% of your national income and you're going through money changers like MoneyGram and Western Union, which charges up to 30%, so that's 30% of the money coming in that's never going to be seen in the El Salvador's economy because it's going to fees. But now, since Bitcoin is legal tender, people can send Bitcoin. So now I'm from El Salvador. I'm working in Miami. I'm making good money. I want to send money back home to El Salvador. Instead of sending it through MoneyGram and every 1,000 I sent, maybe they'll get 700. No, now I can just get the Lightning Network popping, send 1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and all that Bitcoin is entering into the economy. So other countries are seeing they have similar challenges and similar issues. So you're going to see them do, as you've seen them start to do, integrate into this blockchain technology via Bitcoin. And you're going to see a lot of smaller countries that have been struggling these last few decades start to rise up in economic power. And that's also going to push the market up. And when Bitcoin goes up, as you know, all your little altcoins go up as well. So in 2021, so let's just look at a tweet. So Nayib Bukele indicated on a Tuesday post that the nation is earning even more Bitcoin in the form of revenue from other services. These include revenue from citizen passport programs, which converts Bitcoin to US dollars for local businesses, Bitcoin mining, and revenue from government services. So let's check this out. This is a tweet. BTC revenue from our passport programs, plus revenue from converting BTC to USD for local business, plus BTC for mining. Remember, they're mining Bitcoin via geothermal technology with their volcanoes, and plus Bitcoin revenue from government services. And that was a retweet to the original tweet that said El Salvador is now 83 million profit on their Bitcoin investments. So remember, they were told, and why I say it's a case study is because when Nayib Bukele decided that he's going to make Bitcoin legal tender in this country, the IMF and all these other large 3-letter acronyms started shitting on them. They started pretty much threatening them. Hey, we're going to pull these loans. You're not going to be available to get loans from us anymore if you continue with this. Hey, we're going to decrease your national credit score. They were basically trying to bully him into relinquishing his position from Bitcoin because they knew that could and probably would make him less dependent on them. And he hodled. He diamond handed his way through it. He thugged it out and said, look, I don't care if the market goes down. I'm just buying more Bitcoin. And now it looks like he's reaping some of the benefits. So the 84 million doesn't seem like a lot, but for a smaller nation, but it's still 84 million plus. And it's still 84 million more than they had. When I say 84 million plus, I mean it's 84 million more than they would have had. Plus, that's not the full story. But that's that. Let's get into this as we wind it down. Token.com has introduced new tools for interacting with crypto. So this is big because the more development that goes on, or the more the market starts to go up, the more the development happens, the more development happens. So as development happens, then there's extensions to those developments, and it's becoming more seamless for new users to introduce people to an easier way that's more user-friendly for people to be introduced to and to use and utilize crypto. And the reason this is important is because, like I said before, all these different institutions that are coming out with all these products and services, and you're seeing them introduce it all the time, and you're going to slowly see it enter the mainstream. Like one of the biggest ones is these ETFs. You now can trade Bitcoin on Wall Street. You now have more access to Bitcoin into your portfolio, even if you're into just traditional finance, like stocks. So now you make it more friendly. One of the things I said, like why you want to study this stuff, is so you can be able to maneuver on your own. I'm not saying things like what I'm going to show you here are bad. I am saying that when you can do it on your own, you will reap better benefits, because any centralized service that offers you crypto products, they're not doing it for free. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying they're not doing it for free. So in a centralized exchange, or when a bank tells you that, hey, you can stake or hold your crypto here and we'll give you this much APR per year, that's cool. But what they're not telling you is that if you know how to do it yourself, you'd probably make 50% more. That's all I'm saying. So token.com is the first social investing platform that allows users to interact with token projects just like they would with a social media profile, making it nice and easy, right? So if they're doing it like that, it's going to be integratable perhaps with other social, whatever. Cryptocurrencies or token projects are introduced through token cards. These are made up of a video, a short description of the project, some tags, and a token score. If the user is compelled enough by the concept and narrative of the particular token, then it can easily be bought and sold with a tap. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I can't hate on that. The nominal way in which we interact in Web 2 is through likes. We believe that the Web 3 equivalent is that if you like something enough, then you should invest in it, says Mel Gilder, CEO and CEO founder of the platform. Token scores are a very important element of token cards, as they allow users to easily discriminate between worthy projects and others that lack standing ground. That is something that would be very helpful, especially for new people, because a lot of times what happens is people get sold on the idea of a project that looks promising, and it usually happens when you don't really know how to assess situations. This is why Carrot Bars was able to fleece hundreds of millions. This is why Gold Standard Partners is doing the same, and other projects as well. So, my channel got taken down because I was exposing crypto scams, even though on YouTube, you see crypto scams all the time. You see AI fakes, deep fakes of people in the crypto business telling you that they're going to give you 10 times the crypto you send them. That's all cap. And, that's why my channel was taken down, for exposing a particular scam. And I haven't said this too much, but I've been taken for crypto scams, or I've got into projects that are no longer existing. I have billions of coins that have been rug pulls. I didn't put in more than I could afford to lose, and I did it with caution. But hey, some of the projects, they looked like they were going to be cool, but they weren't. So there's always risk when you're trying to go for these low market cap coins to take advantage of an exploding market. Anyway, token scores are very important. We're to say that part. So basically, yeah, they're just making it easier to integrate, and easier to invest, easier to assess different opportunities, which is it's a good thing. And I assume one thing that we're seeing develop right now, which will at some point be popular, is you'll see tokenized stocks, tokenized index type of funds, and mutual funds on the blockchain. Tokenized ways to invest in, I just said company stocks, same thing. All right, so there's that. Now let's go ahead and just wrap it up. What can you buy with your Bitcoin? Now let's go to this. Large corporations, major wirehouses gearing up to buy Bitcoin This is what Bitwise is saying, and this is just from yesterday. So institutions representing trillions of dollars in assets are preparing to buy spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds by the end of June, said crypto native asset manager Bitwise. In a March 9th investment memo sent out to investors, Bitcoin chief investment officer Matt Haugen said Bitwise was involved in serious due diligence discussions with large corporations, major wirehouses, and institutional consultants looking to increase their exposure to Bitcoin in the coming months. We haven't seen anything yet. I got to end it here because I do got to get going. $150,000 Bitcoin is nothing. We're probably going to 200,000 to 300,000. Doesn't mean it will stay there. It means that we'll probably go there, and while going there, it's going to pull some of these altcoins, and it's going to make millionaires. We are in a good time to be alive in the investment side of the game, on this blockchain crypto gang side of the game. Look, make sure you make smart choices. Make sure you're informed as you can be. Make sure you do your own due diligence on how to interact with blockchain products and services, protocols, wallets, exchanges, and all that good stuff, and take full advantage. If you don't know, CryptTalk podcast at gmail.com. Hit me up there. Join Blockchain Crypto Gang on Facebook, and you can follow on Twitter at CryptTalkP. Appreciate your time. Peace.